The world is slipping into turmoil, collapsing piece by piece under a spreading darkness that moves like a silent plague across continents. Cities that once glowed with life have dimmed into scattered ruins. Forests grow still and breathless beneath a shadow that blots out the sky. Even the greatest guardians, those sworn to protect the fragile balance of the realm, have vanished without warning, leaving behind only whispers, broken symbols, and echoes of battles lost. Hope, once a fierce and brilliant flame, now shivers at the edge of extinction. Yet destiny rarely abandons a dying world without leaving a final tether of possibility. Somewhere far from the chaos, tucked into an unremarkable corner of civilization, lives a person who has no idea that the fate of all creation quietly coils around their existence. They are ordinary in every imaginable way, living a life defined by routine, burdened by small worries, and shaped by a sense of being out of place without knowing why. But behind their eyes lies an inheritance older than kingdoms and more potent than any weapon crafted by mortal hands. This individual has been spoken of for centuries. Their coming was written into prophecy long before they ever drew breath, etched into stone tablets, painted across ancient murals, whispered by seers who glimpsed fragments of what was to come. And yet, the chosen figure themselves remains blissfully unaware of the dormant force buried deep within their spirit, sleeping like embers under cold ashes. They do not know the weight of their bloodline, the power sealed within their bones, or the destiny that has been waiting patiently for the moment the world would need them most. That moment is now. As darkness spreads unchecked and the final defenders crumble, the world shifts its gaze toward this unassuming soul. The conflict tightening around them is no mere battle between armies, but a struggle against an ancient force intent on consuming everything. Entire generations have attempted to awaken the power required to resist this threat, but each attempt ended in failure, either through fear, unworthiness, or insufficient strength. Legends tell of chosen heirs who were nearly capable, but the seal remained unbroken. The power resisted all who approached it, as if waiting for one true successor. This successor now walks the earth, unaware that their very heartbeat echoes the pulse of forgotten magic. They feel small and insignificant, believing themselves to be just another face in the crowd, but fate has woven them into the core of the approaching storm. Every moment they live brings them closer to the instant when this unseen force will rise inside them and demand to be acknowledged. Every breath carries them nearer to the awakening that will either save the world or collapse it entirely. But before this awakening can begin, the Chosen One must first find the power that has eluded all who came before. They must uncover its source, confront the truths embedded in ancient prophecy, and accept the burden that accompanies such a gift. The path ahead will be perilous, filled with deception, trials, and revelations capable of reshaping their identity. To save the world, they must find the power that generations failed to claim, and to find that power, they must confront a destiny that refuses to remain hidden any longer. Before we step into this unfolding story, before the Chosen One faces the mysteries awaiting them and the dormant strength stirring beneath their skin, take a moment to support this journey. If you want to follow every step of their awakening, every challenge, and every revelation still to come, remember to like this video, share it with others who follow stories of destiny and power, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next chapter. The search for their true power begins now. Long before the Chosen One ever took their first breath, long before their name was spoken aloud for the very first time, the world had already begun shaping the path that would eventually lead them here. Destiny does not unfold suddenly. It coils quietly through generations, weaving its threads through bloodlines, memories, and forgotten histories until the moment arrives for the tapestry to reveal its first pattern. For centuries, the world waited, patient, silent, and tense, for the emergence of someone capable of unlocking a power sealed far beyond the reach of ordinary beings. The source of this power does not lie in coincidence. It is older than kingdoms, deeper than oceans, and more enduring than the rise and fall of civilizations. In the earliest eras, when magic coursed openly through the world and the sky shimmered with energies now lost, an ancient prophecy was carved into stone tablets so resilient that time itself has failed to erode them. The prophecy spoke of a time when darkness would swell and the guardians would fall, leaving the world exposed to an enemy born from the shadows between realms. It also spoke of an heir, marked not by triumph or lineage alone, but by the convergence of three forgotten forces: blood, memory, and destiny. This heir would not be born into greatness. They would not arrive with clear knowledge of their power, nor would the world recognize them upon their arrival. Instead, they would carry within them a sealed fragment, a dormant spark passed through generations, hidden inside an unbroken genetic lineage that even the guardians themselves could not fully trace. This spark would lie silent, still, and inaccessible until the world reached its breaking point. Only then would the seal weaken. Only then would the signs begin. The Chosen One has felt the beginning of these signs without understanding what they mean. Their senses sharpen inexplicably, though they try to ignore it. Colours appear brighter, sounds more distinct, movements more noticeable. They hear conversations from across a room that others cannot detect. They sense a shift in the air before anything actually happens. Their reaction time becomes unnaturally swift, catching falling objects or avoiding collisions with reflexes that should be impossible for someone untrained. These changes arrive gradually, but their frequency increases with each passing day. At night, their sleep becomes unsettled. They dream in fragments, shards of memory that do not belong to them, yet feel intimately familiar. They see images of towering temples swallowed by vines, ancient battles fought beneath a crimson sky, and faces of people they have never met but whose emotions they can feel in startling clarity. Sometimes a voice calls to them from the darkness of these dreams, using a name they do not recognize. The sound echoes through their mind like a forgotten language, heavy with meaning they cannot decipher. When they wake, they feel drained, as though they have traveled great distances without leaving their bed. Sweat clings to their skin, their pulse races, and each morning the lingering sense that these dreams are not dreams but memories, someone else's memories, perhaps even an ancestor's, grows harder to dismiss. Confusion takes root. They begin to question their sanity. They brush the anomalies aside with nervous laughter, telling themselves that stress or exhaustion must be the cause. But explanations crumble when they catch the reflection of glowing eyes in the mirror for a split second before the light fades, or when they watch a glass vibrate slightly on a table as they walk past it without touching anything. They start avoiding eye contact with others, fearing someone might notice the changes before they can hide them. Denial becomes their shield. They cling to the idea that everything has a rational explanation, that they are simply imagining things or exaggerating small coincidences. But denial is a fragile defense against a power older than prophecy itself. With each passing day, the seal weakens more, and the dormant force inside them stirs like an awakening beast testing the limits of its cage. Small episodes begin to happen, barely noticeable at first, but each one more unsettling than the last. The Chosen One brushes against a wall and leaves a faint scorch mark on the stone. They open their palm during a moment of frustration and feel a faint vibration ripple through the air. They experience flashes of pain in their bones, as though something inside is shifting, adjusting, trying to align itself with a shape unfamiliar to its host. In moments of intense emotion, anger, fear, or desperation, their surroundings react. The room cools or warms unnaturally, lights flicker, loose objects tremble. The environment itself becomes a quiet reflection of the tension they carry within, responding to impulses they do not consciously control. They begin avoiding situations that provoke strong feelings, fearing what might happen if they lose control completely. People around them sense something different, even if they cannot define it. Friends glance twice before speaking, as though noticing a subtle change in their presence. Animals behave strangely, some approaching with uncharacteristic familiarity, others backing away in fear. The Chosen One tries to pretend nothing is wrong, but the world around them refuses to play along. The truth begins to reveal itself through subtle encounters. A symbol carved on an old pendant triggers a memory flash when they touch it. A forgotten page from an ancient manuscript seems to glow faintly under their fingertips. A stranger on the street pauses, stares at them with widened eyes, and whispers a word under their breath. A word the Chosen One does not understand, but but which sends chills down their spine. This is not random. These signs are too consistent, too aligned, too deeply connected to the fragments that echo in their dreams. Something within them recognizes these stimuli before their conscious mind can. Something old, something sealed, something meant to awaken only when the world needed it most. The chosen one begins to feel a pull, an invisible thread leading them toward truths they are not yet ready to face. They feel drawn to forgotten places, abandoned temples, crumbling ruins, and sites where the air hums with a strange familiarity. Each location triggers sensations, tingling along their skin, an ache in their chest, or flashes of memory they cannot fully grasp. Their confusion deepens as they try to piece together what these experiences mean. They feel as if they stand on the edge of a revelation too large to comprehend, as though reality is beginning to peel back layers that have been in place for centuries. Uncertainty grows with every sign. They question who they are, where they come from, and why they feel connected to events and eras far beyond their lifetime. But even through the confusion, hints of truth begin to surface. A pattern emerges. A realization forms slowly and reluctantly in their mind. This power inside them is not a curse, not an accident, not a random spark ignited by chance. It was placed there deliberately, bestowed upon a lineage chosen carefully across generations, sealed away until the world was once again on the brink of collapse. And now that the collapse has begun, the seal no longer holds. The chosen one does not yet understand how to access the power fully, nor do they grasp the scale of what lies ahead, but the growing signs, the increasingly vivid dreams, and the undeniable shifts in their senses all point to the same truth. Someone, long ago, intended for them to wield this power when the final hour approached. The dormant spark within them is not awakening because of coincidence. It is responding to the state of the world. It is answering a call that has echoed through centuries. They are the rightful heir to a force no one else has ever been able to claim. And whether they are ready or not, the journey toward discovering that power has already begun. The signs grow too persistent to ignore. What began as subtle hints, sharp reflexes, flickers of energy, echoes of ancient memories, now press against the chosen one's mind with an urgency that feels almost sentient. Denial loses its strength. Curiosity becomes a necessity, and fear, though still present, slowly reshapes into a question that refuses to be silenced. What is happening to me, and why? Driven by this need for understanding, the chosen one begins searching for answers. Their journey does not start with clarity, it begins with instinct, an unexplainable pull that guides them toward places that most people overlook. They find themselves drawn to forgotten corners of their world, abandoned temples half swallowed by vines, old ruins left untouched for centuries, empty shrines where incense burned out long ago. Something in these places resonates with the dormant spark within them. The air hums differently, the silence feels heavy and aware, and each time they step into these ancient spaces, a faint, almost imperceptible warmth ignites in their chest. On one of these ventures, they discover an inscription carved deep into the stone of a ruined pillar. The markings are faded, eroded by time. But when the chosen one runs their fingers across the symbols, the stone pulses with a faint glow. A memory, not their own, floods their mind. A battlefield drenched in fire, a guardian falling to their knees, and a voice whispering a single command. Find the source. The chosen one staggers back, breath unsteady, but the message is clear. They must keep searching. Guided by visions they barely understand, they seek out mentors, scholars of ancient lore, hermits who live far from civilization, keepers of forgotten knowledge. Some of these individuals dismiss them immediately, believing their story to be the ramblings of someone lost in fantasy. Others sense something extraordinary within them and respond with fear, refusing to get involved. But a few recognize the signs. They study the chosen one with cautious eyes, whispering the old myths as though recalling memories buried under centuries of dust. They speak of a lineage marked by destiny. They speak of power sealed away for a reason. They speak of trials that must be endured if the chosen one hopes to awaken that power fully. The guidance is vague, fragmented, and often contradictory. But each mentor leaves them with the same warning. Power without discipline destroys the one who wields it. The chosen one's determination grows, but so too does the weight on their shoulders. Their attempts to access the force within become more deliberate as they search for ways to control it. They meditate in forgotten sanctuaries, breathe in the stillness of empty cavern halls, and try to focus on the pulse inside them. But each attempt ends in failure. Their concentration shatters under waves of searing pain. Their vision blurs until the world around them becomes a spinning storm of light and sound. The energy, rather than stabilizing, lashes out, knocking over stones, cracking the ground, or sending shockwaves through the air. The physical toll is relentless. Their muscles ache, their bones vibrate with tension. Their veins feel too small to hold the immense force inside them. At times they collapse to their knees, gasping for breath as the energy retreats, leaving them cold and trembling. They begin to fear their own body. Each attempt feels like stepping into a battlefield against an enemy they cannot see, cannot touch, and cannot escape. But the inner trials are far more brutal. Doubt seeps into their thoughts, whispering that they were not meant for this, that the prophecy may have been wrong, that they are unworthy. They question whether they are a mistake, a flawed vessel chosen by accident rather than destiny. As signs of the power grow stronger, so too does the fear of being consumed by it. They recall the visions of fire and destruction, the faces lost beneath shadows, the terrifying possibility that awakening this force might harm those they care about. These fears coil around their mind like serpents. What if the power is too much? What if they lose themselves in the process? What if they are not strong enough to hold the weight of the prophecy? During nights of restless sleep, they wake screaming from dreams in which they stand alone atop a shattered world, power radiating from them like a star on the verge of collapsing. They see friends running from them, shadows engulfing them, and the sky cracking under the burden of what they have become. They wake drenched in sweat, heart racing, hands shaking uncontrollably. The more they try to master the power, the more it slips away. When they try to force it into submission, it surges violently, burning like molten metal through their veins. When they try to suppress it, it retaliates by erupting in volatile bursts. Their journey becomes a cycle of hope and despair. One moment they feel close to a breakthrough, the next they fall to the ground, defeated and breathless. Still, they persist. In one of the ancient ruins, a place where stone arches rise like the ribs of an enormous beast, they encounter an artifact half buried in the dust. It is a tablet, fractured into pieces, bearing the same ancient script they have seen in their visions. As they place their hand upon it, an image bursts inside their mind. A figure stands in a torrent of shimmering light, surrounded by collapsing mountains and swirling storms. This figure, distant yet familiar, channels energy with complete control, shaping the world around them with deliberate precision. They stand in stark contrast to the Chosen One's current state. Where the Chosen One trembles and falters, the figure stands unshaken. Where the Chosen One's energy lashes out wildly, the figure bends it like a sculptor shaping clay. The Chosen One gasps, overwhelmed by the glimpse of what they might one day become, and terrified by the vast distance between who they are now and who they are expected to be. With every step forward, the trials grow harsher. Their body weakens as the strain becomes unbearable. Their mind fractures under the pressure of conflicting visions and relentless doubt. The world begins to feel foreign, tilted, and unstable. They question whether any of this is worth the suffering, whether the fate of the world truly depends on someone like them, whether destiny made a mistake. The breaking point comes during an attempt to channel the energy deep within. They stand alone in a desolate chamber carved from stone, the air thick with dust and ancient magic. Determined to succeed, they focus on the warmth rising in their chest. The spark grows into a flame, then a raging inferno. Light blazes from their body, filling the chamber with blinding intensity. For a heartbeat, they almost control it. They almost hold the energy steady. Then it erupts. The force expels outward in a violent blast, shattering pillars, ripping stone from walls, and sending the Chosen One crushing backward. Pain ricochets through their body. Their vision dims. Their breath falters, and for the first time since their journey began, they feel the emptiness of defeat so absolute that their spirit wavers. Tears sting their eyes as the reality sinks in. They might not be capable of mastering this. They might not be the hero the world needs. They might not be the chosen one after all. The chamber falls silent. Dust settles. The echoes of destruction fade. The chosen one lies on the cold floor, staring blankly at the cracked ceiling. Every injury screams. Every doubt returns with renewed force. They feel small again, overwhelmed, powerless, and afraid. The trials have pushed them to the edge of collapse, and now they stand before a precipice. One path leads to surrender, a quiet acceptance of their limits, a retreat into the shadows while the world crumbles. The other path is harder, stepping deeper into the unknown, embracing pain, embracing fear, and accepting a destiny they still do not fully understand. And now, standing battered and shaking, the chosen one reaches the moment that will shape everything that follows. They must choose: turn back or step into the truth waiting beyond this threshold. The chosen one remains on the cold floor of the shattered chamber, breath shallow, body trembling, vision blurred by the dust still drifting through the air. Their spirit is fractured, battered by failure after failure. The silence presses in around them like a weight, magnifying every ache in their muscles and every doubt in their mind. They feel lost, adrift in a destiny too vast, too heavy, too relentless. And yet, somewhere deep within the stillness, a faint rhythmic vibration begins to pulse gently through the air. At first, the sound is barely audible, like the soft hum of air passing through an ancient flute buried in stone. Then it builds, growing fuller and clearer, vibrating through the chamber until it resonates inside the chosen one's bones. They lift their head, confused, struggling to focus. The source of the sound isn't immediately visible, but as the chamber continues to vibrate with the strange frequency, the air in one corner shimmers faintly, just a flicker, so subtle it could be mistaken for a trick of failing vision. The chosen one squints, trying to understand what they're seeing. The shimmer grows stronger, soft at first, then brightening until the outline of an object begins to form. Slowly, as though emerging from another layer of reality, an ancient relic reveals itself. It hovers slightly above the ground, wrapped in soft pulses of light. It is small, simple in shape and unassuming, yet the power radiating from it is unmistakable. The chosen one feels it immediately, a warm, familiar presence, like the echo of a heartbeat striking in rhythm with their own. A memory flickers across their mind, one of the fragmented visions they have seen in their dreams. The relic was there, glowing in a guardian's hand just before the world around them crumbled into chaos. They gasp softly. This is no coincidence. The relic has been waiting all along, hidden in this chamber beneath centuries of dust and broken stone, responding only when the chosen one reached the threshold between surrender and perseverance. It has been dormant, sealed away, waiting for the exact moment the destined heir would stand not as a warrior, but as someone who had been stripped down to their rawest truth. The relic trembles slightly, then emits a sharp pulse of light that ripples through the chamber like a shockwave. The air thickens. Dust hangs suspended. Time seems to slow, stretching thin as though reality is holding itself open for the revelation about to unfold. The chosen one feels the relic pulling at them, not physically, but energetically, tugging at the dormant spark within their chest. Then everything happens at once. From the entrance of the chamber comes a sudden roar, the kind that tears through stone and shakes loose fragments from the ceiling. The chosen one startles and turns toward the sound. Emerging from the shadows is a monstrous form, its body dripping with dark energy that smoulders like burning tar. Its eyes burn with hunger and malice, drawn here by the eruption of unstable power that shattered the chamber earlier. It moves with unnatural speed, crossing the distance toward the chosen one in mere seconds, claws raised and jaws parted. The chosen one's heart slams against their ribs. Panic surges through their veins. They try to push themselves up, but their limbs scream in protest. The monster lunges, and instinct takes over. With reflexes sharpened by countless anomalies and signs they tried to ignore, they roll to the side, narrowly avoiding the deadly strike. Stone explodes where the creature lands, shards flying across the chamber. Fear floods their system, not the creeping anxiety of earlier trials, but raw, primal terror. The terror of facing death without power, without hope, without control. It crashes into them with overwhelming intensity, pulling every emotion they've suppressed to the surface. Pain from their injuries, fear of failure, desperation to survive, and the impossible pressure of destiny all collide in a single explosive moment deep within their core. And that moment is the catalyst. The relic pulses again, this time violently, in perfect sync with the storm rising inside the Chosen One. A sharp, searing sensation erupts in their chest. They clutch at the front of their clothes, eyes wide, as the dormant spark that has slept within them for generations stirs with furious intensity. Light bursts beneath their skin, racing across their veins like molten gold. A sound echoes in their mind, a metallic chime, a whisper of ancient power unraveling the seal that has bound it for centuries. The monster lunges again, and the spark detonates. A blinding surge of energy explodes outward, filling the chamber with a flood of radiant light. The shockwave lifts dust, debris, and loose stones into the air, sending them spiraling in concentric patterns around the Chosen One. The monster is hurled backward with enough force to crack its armoured hide and embed its massive body into the far wall. It roars in agony, thrashing violently as the energy sears through its darkness. The Chosen One, suspended at the centre of the radiant blast, feels everything at once. Their body arches upward, their eyes glow with light so bright it reflects across the chamber like twin beacons piercing into the depths of the earth. Their hair floats as if submerged underwater. Their heartbeat becomes thunder, resonating through the chamber, each pulse releasing more energy. They feel pain, deep, scorching pain, yet it is layered with something far greater than agony. Fear transforms into purpose. Desperation merges with will. Instinct and identity fuse. All the fragments of who they have been, the confused seeker, the frightened novice, the reluctant heir, align into a single, unified self for the first time. And the power responds. Light pours from their palms. A swirling aura forms around their body, bending the air into concentric waves. The ground beneath them cracks, glowing with molten lines as the energy radiates outward. The relic's pulses synchronize with theirs, amplifying the force, connecting them to a lineage of forgotten power. They feel the presence of ancestors, voices not spoken aloud but felt deep within, guiding, steadying, affirming. Within this awakening, they glimpse the nature of their power. It is not chaos, not destruction, not a burden destined to break them. It is creation in its purest form, energy that can shape, protect, and transform. It is ancient, yes, but alive, eager to respond to a heart that has finally accepted its role. The monster struggles to stand, rage and fear colliding in its twisted eyes. It charges again, but the Chosen One raises their hand instinctively. Energy bursts forth, raw, unrefined, but devastating. A beam of blinding light crashes into the creature, sending it skidding across the ruined floor. The power is overwhelming, surging through the Chosen One's body like a tidal wave that threatens to sweep away everything in its path. They grit their teeth, trying to control it, trying not to let it escape their grasp entirely. They cannot fully master it yet. The force flickers unpredictably, too strong one moment, too weak the next. It burns through them with erratic pulses that test the limits of their endurance. They stumble, barely maintaining their footing as the energy continues to flow. Their hands tremble, aura fluctuating, breath coming in ragged bursts. But despite the difficulty, they understand something crucial. The power is no longer hidden, no longer sealed, no longer dormant. It is awake, and it is theirs. The relic, now dimming, drops gently to the ground as though its purpose has been fulfilled. The monster, sensing that it stands no chance against this newly awakened force, retreats into the shadows, leaving a trail of dark smoke in its wake. The chamber grows still once more, but this time the stillness carries an entirely different essence. The environment itself shifts. The temperature drops, then rises. The air hums with energy, vibrating through stone and dust alike. Cracks in the walls glow faintly. Ancient symbols buried beneath centuries of grime shimmer back into visibility. It is as though the awakening has reactivated something old, something the world has not felt in an age. The Chosen One slowly descends until their feet touch the ground again. Their aura flickers, then steadies into a soft glow. They lower their gaze, panting, trying to process what has just occurred. Their body aches, their hands burn, their mind feels stretched thin. But through it all, one truth anchors itself firmly in their heart. This was not an accident. This was not a failure turned lucky. This was the beginning. The era of awakening has begun, and nothing in the world will ever be the same again. The chamber falls into a heavy, resonant stillness, as though the world itself is pausing to absorb what has just occurred. Dust settles slowly in the glowing cracks carved into the floor. The relic lies quiet, its ancient light fading into a gentle pulse that echoes like a heartbeat retreating into sleep. And at the center of the aftermath stands the Chosen One, transformed, awakened, and undeniably changed. Their breathing is uneven, their body weary, their limbs trembling under the weight of what has just been unleashed. But behind the exhaustion, something new burns quietly in their gaze. Their eyes shimmer with a faint, luminous glow that does not fade, a reminder of the power they touched. No, the power they claimed. The person who walked into this chamber was uncertain, doubtful, and overwhelmed by the enormity of destiny. The person who now stands in its ruins has taken their first true steps into a new identity, one shaped not by fear, but by emergence. The awakening has begun, not in theory, not in prophecy, but in reality. The sealed force that slept for generations now courses through their veins. They can feel it, a living current swirling beneath their heartbeat, answering their emotions, responding to their will. It is raw and unstable, but it is theirs. And though the Chosen One cannot fully control it yet, they now understand its purpose. It wasn't meant to be a gift handed easily to them. It was meant to be earned, awakened through trials that revealed who they truly are. They take a slow breath, steadying themselves as the energy gradually settles. The warmth in their chest softens, the tremble in their hands fades, but the atmosphere around them remains charged with meaning. The chamber, once silent and forgotten, seems to acknowledge them now. Ancient carvings faintly glow, as though recognizing the air they've waited for. Even the air feels different, sharper, clearer, alive with possibility. The Chosen One looks toward the passage leading back into the outside world. Shadows stretch long across the floor, shaped not by darkness alone, but by newfound power altering the space around them. They realize this moment marks a threshold. They have crossed out of who they were, a wandering soul searching desperately for answers, and into what they must become, the bearer of a force that can shift the balance between salvation and destruction. But even as this realization sets in, another truth weighs heavily upon them. This is only the beginning. The challenges ahead loom like mountains in the distance, vast, imposing, and filled with dangers they can barely conceive. The power they have awakened is unpredictable, surging with potential but equally capable of consuming them if they falter. There will be harder trials, deeper confrontations, ancient enemies, and revelations that will test their will far beyond anything they have endured so far. The world is changing, shifting in response to their awakening, and whatever darkness has begun to rise will not sit idle now that the heir of prophecy has taken their first step into destiny. Still, despite the uncertainty, the Chosen One feels a flicker of resolve ignite within. Not confidence, they are not ready for that yet. Not mastery, they are far from understanding the full depth of their power. But determination. A quiet, steady determination that grows stronger with every breath. As they walk toward the broken exit of the chamber, light follows them, moving in gentle waves like the first signs of dawn pushing back the long night. The awakening is real. The journey has begun. And the world, trembling on the edge of collapse, has felt the shift. Before we close this chapter and step into the next stage of this unfolding legend, take a moment to help guide this journey forward. If you followed the Chosen One through their first awakening, if you're ready to witness the trials, revelations, and transformations still ahead, remember to like this video, share it with others who follow stories of destiny and rising power, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next chapter as the Chosen One ventures deeper into who they were always meant to become. The path forward awaits.